I promise you this will not end well. Oh, I shot in between his legs, bro. What the heck? Man. I give up.
Around April of 2024, I saw Toph trending on social media. Being my favorite character from Avatar: The Last Airbender, I wanted to see what the commotion was about. She had been added as a playable character to Fortnite, along with Aang, Katara, Zuko, and Korra. This was mostly relayed to me through funny videos and great art pieces of Toph with a sniper rifle. Naturally. Seeing how well implemented the Avatar characters were got me thinking about the game again. I originally tried it in the spring of 2018 when it was originally exploding in popularity. After a number of matches, likely between 5 and 10, I wasn't left with much of a lasting impression. One thing I did remember from that time was a solo game I managed to take 3rd place in, despite the fact that I never fired a shot. With the addition of the Avatar characters getting me to think about the game again, I realized it wasn't fair for my opinion of the game to still be oriented around a limited experience of what it was like 6 years ago. Throughout that time, much has changed, and the game continues to put up a high active player count. Even though I didn't expect my opinion to change much, I decided that this would be a good time to give Fortnite another chance. If nothing else, I would at least be able to waste money on playable Toph now, so that I would have it for any future revisits. With no real plan of what to do, and no research being performed before jumping in, I installed the game again after installing the Epic Games Launcher. Did not install it on my new computer. Did not have a reason to. I launched the game for the first time in 6 years, waited through the loading screens, and got to the main menu. The first thing I tend to do when launching a game for the first time is to dig through the menus to look at the options and get a feel for what's where. I didn't know what to expect, but I certainly wasn't prepared for the amount of options I was presented with. The main screen had some of the game modes listed, but also included a large variety of user-created game modes. It's almost embarrassing to say, but I got overwhelmed with trying to process everything for the first time, and I closed the game without even attempting to get into a match. After giving it about an hour, I reopened the game and continued making sense of what I was looking at. When the zero build version of the Battle Royale mode was announced, I thought that was being introduced as a limited time gimmick that would replace the standard BR mode for a while, then be taken out. Apparently not the case. It seems like the no build mode is at least as popular as the mode with building, possibly even more so. I wouldn't have guessed that. Over time, more game modes had been added to Fortnite. I didn't realize just how many there were. Save the World was the original idea for what Fortnite was supposed to be, and I wasn't surprised to see it in the game still. I was surprised to see that Epic was still charging money for the privilege of actually playing it. With the success of their microtransaction store and addition of other game modes, I was somewhat expecting this to have become just another part of the free-to-play experience. Moving past the original mode and the BR modes, many of the additions seem strange to me. They've added something that looks like a Guitar Hero clone, a car racing game mode based on Rocket League.
Man, I got second. No, I got third! No!
The Lego Fortnite mode, which may be similar to Minecraft in some respects, but may be something totally original that just seems like it from the menu options for starting a world. And some form of in-game level building system that I haven't investigated yet. On their own, none of these are particularly weird in any way, except for the rocket racing mode, with my only hang-up there being why it was added as a mode to Fortnite instead of Rocket League. What makes this strange to me is that they're all included as parts of the same game centered around the totally unrelated Battle Royale and Survival Mode experiences. My only guess for why this approach was taken was to centralize the modes around the same in-game item store. I'll lay out my thoughts about the store later. I didn't want to jump into any sort of grand build-a-thon right out of the gate. Or at all. Zero build seemed like the way to go. Additionally, there were special avatar-themed challenges going on, with completion of enough challenges awarding a special Appa glider. The challenges would take some time to complete and were being released every few days over the course of about 2 weeks. Sure, it would make for a nice thing to have, but it was also a perfect target because of that schedule. To get the Appa glider, I'd need to put in a number of play sessions lasting more than an hour over the course of a couple weeks. Coincidentally, a fair shot at changing my opinion of it would happen due to the time I'd need to put in anyway. Before moving on to the next part, I'd like to note that this is a video adaptation of something I originally intended to just be written. There are parts I excluded from the original to keep this version shorter. The full version should be linked somewhere. Once I had my plan in place, it was time to jump in. I mostly stuck to the solo queue so I wouldn't need to worry about teammates while I tried to get the challenges done to unblock the chakras, and eventually work my way to getting the Appa glider. As time passed, more quests were listed as part of different chakras, those being water, earth, fire, air, sound, and light, made available one at a time in that order with the exception of the last two, which happened at the same time. Not confusing at all. Oh, what's that? I've spent too much time talking and now I've landed on the ground from the drop? Dang, I should have known that would happen. Lucky for me, the fundamental strategy for what to do upon landing hasn't changed in the last 6 years. Drop in somewhere likely to have items laying around and chests to be looted, grab as many useful items as can be carried, then book it out of there before somebody else doing the same thing decides to get aggressive. Other players being around means an inevitability of this going sideways from time to time, but it generally works well. It helps that I know how to be a sneaky bastard and that I'm using a mouse to aim. Many things to be grabbed, but some things are obviously going to be more useful than others. With a melee weapon and 5 inventory slots, choosing the right items to bring along and leave behind to cover for close quarters combat, long-range engagements, and healing items that ward off bad cases of not winning is a balancing act.
My plan went well.
with 30 seconds doing nothing.
Not content with only one player or team who must fall, the bar has been raised. Oh my fucking god. I didn't know that was in the game when I wrote this. The bar has been raised so that all but one player or team, depending on lobby, must be eliminated to determine the winner. How to go about this can vary wildly. On top of the loot system, the game also adds secondary objectives that can provide better gear, vehicles, and even more information on where the Death Storm will be moving to. All are helpful in their own ways. The best strategy seems to be camping out in quiet spots until the number of players remaining drops to a point where confrontation becomes too necessary to continue skirting around. If Gears of War 2's Horde mode has taught me anything, it's that gathering a healthy surplus of ammunition and holding a good camping spot may not always be the right answer, but it's never the wrong answer.
Really good with 62.
The experience of playing the zero build mode gets more visceral than I would have anticipated. There's good tension at times when I'm running through open areas with no certainty of who may be lurking about. Trouble can start shooting at me without warning from 2 feet away or 200 feet away. I hear unexpected bullets flying by and I'm sent scrambling for cover as I try to figure out where I'm being shot from. Battles are fast and every hit taken and given feels meaningful. It does a good job of keeping me on my toes. I find this to be a stark juxtaposition to the pre-game lobby where players just act relaxed and show off their dance moves and player models officially licensed from more properties than I can name. Available for purchase in the Fortnite store, of course. Instead of disliking this, I think it actually adds to the experience. Sure, all these people are about to embark on a journey to scavenge for weapons and supplies like ravenous beasts to kill each other off until everyone else is dead. But the fun dancing beforehand reminds everyone that it's all in good fun. And now a word from Xbox player Lost111. The title is France. As soon as I shoot someone 2 times, they build the Eiffel Tower on top of me, and then run across the map.
That is, bro. Also give a little scare before he kills the person. Imagine him just like, imagine you're backed up into, imagine you're backed up into a corner, like nowhere to go, and he's just walking at you like that with a sword.
Literally. Wait.
Returning to the game, I didn't realize that Fortnite had a way for players to create their own game modes. Looking through what was available, a lot of what I saw reminded me of what I would see on Roblox when I was a kid. I didn't have much interest in checking out any of the user-created modes, but decided it couldn't hurt to spend some time on a few just to see what they're like. The specific ones I chose just happened to be easy to find in the main lists of modes available. And since these would mostly rely on Fortnite's basic gameplay elements, there wouldn't be much I'd need to learn before hopping in. It would also enable me to develop a better feel for the game and more effectively evaluate the parts that were worked on by the players who made the modes. After playing these modes, I think the functionality that enabled these to be made might be fairly extensive. The map in the deathmatch mode gives me a similar laser tag arena feeling that I would get from some Forge maps in Halo 3 or Halo Reach.
Triple kill. Overkill. Tied the leader.
In the Capture the Flag mode, those maps seem to be the product of a more involved level editor. I would guess the truth might be somewhere in the middle, with some prefab maps serving as the templates on which to build up the more involved maps. There also seems to be some sort of scripting functionality. I don't think the game has a native feature for giving up on being down but not out, but the CTF mode has one anyway. To get the best idea for what's possible with the tools provided, I would need to make my own level. I didn't have any plans on actually doing this, and the apparent lack of any kind of nuclear missile launcher would make my idea to port over Deemer potentially impossible. This wasn't on my radar of what to evaluate anyway, so I'll skip it for the time being and maybe give it a try later. As a result of taking much longer to write this than originally anticipated, and finding a group of players to party up with that view these as a normal function of the game, I've spent more time on these user creations and played more of them.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I'll kill the last one.
I did. For you.
Where would a game like Fortnite be without other people to play with and against?
The heck?
For the majority of the time I spent playing the game to form an opinion about it, I never formed lobbies with anyone I knew. I wanted to see what the people playing the game were like without getting distracted. When I chose to have the matchmaking system group me with other people, I never ran into a bad experience with another player. Most of the people I ran into seemed to just not use microphones and didn't employ creative ways to be bad teammates. The game doesn't feature any kind of proximity chat. I gotta make an edit to that. That's changed. It's changed. This limits who a player can communicate with in both directions to players in the same lobby or on the same team who also have microphones and are willing to use them. Of course, that's under the assumption that the player in question has a microphone and the will to use it. Another consideration is that the game is designed to appeal to a younger audience. Many of the random players present in a custom world are served up by the matchmaking system to fill a team may be children. It's probably best when talking into the microphone to avoid using strong language and making inflammatory comments relating to the supposed romantic preferences of another player, or the supposed weight of their mother. Despite the communication barrier, most players seem friendly enough. I'm making this observation based on how the other players tend to behave. Randomly assigned teammates are often willing to share resources when needed and will make honest attempts to save down teammates. If I run up to somebody and bust out some dance moves or do some friendly teabagging while waiting for the game to start, there's a good chance the other player will return some dancing or teabagging of their own. One of the interesting parts about the players in a Battle Royale lobby is that they aren't all human. I'm guessing there's no official source for this, but the matchmaking system adds bot players to lobbies. I don't have a problem with this on its own, but there's nothing the game does to distinguish these bots from human players. The behavior of the bots is fairly distinct and the names given to them tend to follow a pattern, so it's not impossible to make the determination. New players wouldn't know that this is an element of the game and may not pick up on the fact that some of their opponents are just bots. It would be better if the game had some obvious indication added to the names of its bots. It also seems to only broadly apply to unranked Battle Royale matches. Ranked doesn't seem to have bots, or just not as many bots.
Hey bro, jokes got a little bit of truth, so Hope, can I pass by? Thank you. See, me and Hope, we homies, right? Right, Hope?
We're Hope, right?
See,
We're
yeah.
Hope. We're homies, right?
Nah, bro.
Perhaps the most influential aspect of Fortnite is its monetization model. Players don't spend money to buy the game thanks to the free-to-play model, which pushes the responsibility of generating revenue toward in-game cosmetics and items. There are two layers to the approach used to get players to spend money on items. The first is the store, where the available items are rotated in and out and can be purchased individually. The second is the Battle Pass, which offers a greater number of items for a lower cost, with the condition that the items need to be unlocked by investing a considerable amount of time into playing the game within a certain window of time. Some predetermined items can be had without having to pay for the pass. Both of these tactics employ fear of missing out as a driving force to get players to make purchases. This is a somewhat underhanded practice, but many free-to-play games, and some paid games, released around the same time are utilizing loot boxes for their in-game purchase models. Introducing an effective alternative to gambling for monetizing free-to-play games is a positive attribute and something I appreciated about this game getting as popular as it did. Fortnite can be played without any real hindrances for free as long as the cosmetic items aren't too tempting. Despite that, I rarely encountered a player who could have plausibly not spent money on the game. There must be an inherent human need for expression of self and individuality that makes us all the same. That, or there's some really compelling reason to spend money on virtual items instead of something useful like food or soap that I'm not thinking of. Most everything in the Fortnite store, including battle passes, are not directly purchased with money. The game uses an intermediate currency called V-Bucks that are purchased with money, then used to purchase in-game items. There appear to be some exceptions listed in the store, but I don't detect an obvious pattern for what to say those exceptions would be.
They don't like us, can you hear me? What's better? Call of Duty or Fortnite? What kind of response is that? You gotta tell me what's better? Call of Duty or Fortnite? You need to leave! No, I don't need to leave. What's the favorite?
Before talking about the prices of what can be purchased, it would be best for me to establish how I'm going to list the prices. The lowest cost pack of V-Bucks available for purchase is 1,000 V-Bucks for $8.99 US. Rounding that purchase price up to $9, that makes the theoretical value of a V-Buck 9/10 of 1 cent or 0.009 US dollars. Higher cost packages offer a volume discount, but this amount is the value I will be using to convert prices listed in V-Bucks to what the price would be if it was listed in dollars. With that established, the pricing for items seems ridiculous to me. The main reason I wanted to give Fortnite another try was because of the Avatar event and items. More specifically, I wanted to get Toph, which is what I decided to purchase first. The price tag was set at 2,000 V-Bucks, or about $18. Understandably, I gawked a bit at seeing this. This wasn't my first time seeing and eventually purchasing a virtual item in a game set at a price that couldn't possibly be justified by any objective metric. Halo Infinite's approximately $10 Enigma helmet took that within the first few days of the game's release in November of 2021. Their Battle Pass system was a mess at launch. I don't know what I was expecting, but that still seemed high. Since caving to the fear of missing out and obtaining the Toph skin was one of the main reasons I was trying this game out again, I reluctantly headed to the page for buying the in-game currency and chose the 2,800 V-Bucks pack for $22.99. My decision was mostly determined by the only lower cost package of 1,000 not being enough to make the purchase unless I went through the process of buying that one twice. I would have enough to buy the Toph skin and some dance move emote, and it was less inconvenient than going through checkout 2 times in a row. Sometime not long after I got the Toph skin, I decided to throw 500 of the remaining balance, equivalent to $4.50 at one of the dance move emotes, which is exactly what I thought would happen. Despite my clear objections to the prices charged, I end up buying these virtual items anyway. I have enough restraint to stick to buying ones that I know I will start using immediately and never stop using, which ends up applying to only a select few. Even with absurd prices, I can keep the total amount of money wasted to below $60. Because of that, I see the purchases I do make as being the alternative to paying an upfront cost for the game. Continually adding new items for players to buy and rotating items in and out of the shop to create artificial scarcity and leverage fear of missing out to drive up sales is a formula that can result in overspending. Adding to this is the game's willingness to not make purchase history easily accessible. To the best that I can tell, there is no way to view the purchase history of an account in Fortnite itself. The transaction history of an Epic Games account can be viewed by logging into their website. As it pertains to Fortnite, that log will only show the purchases of V-Bucks packages. Considering that these are what pull real money from consumers, this is the important information. There doesn't seem to be a way of viewing a log of what those V-Bucks were spent on. Thanks to community-run websites that make pricing information for all shop items searchable, it's possible to make a list of every item an account has and look up the prices to manually create a record of what was purchased with the in-game currency. I imagine this will take a while in some cases. Unfortunately, I did not find a good way to include some words about Unreal Tournament into this section. However, I'm doing it anyway. Near the end of 2022, Epic Games delisted Unreal, Unreal 2, and every game in the Unreal Tournament series from all digital games storefronts. This has rendered them unavailable for purchase, but left the people who already purchased copies of the game still able to play them. Additionally, they shut down the online components to the games that they were hosting, which doesn't affect the online playability of the games too significantly. To the best of my knowledge, there is no official explanation for why this was done. What the fuck, Epic Games? There couldn't possibly be a good explanation for delisting these games. A reasonable part of me thinks this is an attempt to detach the Unreal Engine from the games it was created for, as part of an effort to increase the engine's expansion into other industries and use cases by reshaping its image to be less gaming-oriented. A cynical part of me thinks this is a way for Epic Games to bury their history of making great games, to decrease the awareness of newer and more casual players, and make it easier to present them new games that are good at best. A realistic part of me accepts that this was probably a decision made by an ignorant upper management figure who didn't have any particularly good reasoning behind it. Whatever the logic behind it may be, it remains an unsolved issue that shouldn't have been an issue in the first place. Technically, the only connection this has to Fortnite is the shared developer, but it still feels important to include this.
Oh. What is that? Oh.
Right here. Nice. I told you.
Congratulations, you are the winner. Ten, nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.